Okay, I think you need to go to John.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think that worked. I'm just waiting for him. Are you still there? I'm sorry. Okay. I'm just waiting for him to join.
We're on that screen. Right.
Yeah.
But you're gonna use a PowerPoint, aren't you?
Yeah, that's gonna take you
Yes.
back offline again, so.
Well, if I could use the remote, I could switch the screen to the second HDMI. That should be fine. Let me switch that over. So, what I wanted to be able to share with y'all is we've been given the task, and then I wanted to share that we're wanting to be as thoughtful as we can with how we're going about and being considerate of all the parties involved and attacking and the challenges or the tasks that we've been given, and at the same time, take advantage of some of the data that we found and use it to our advantage. All right. So as we're talking about, again, we're just taking into consideration all the things that have gone on between the port, the community, etc. There's a lot that I'm gathering as much as I can from the folks that I'm speaking with. I promise you, there's a whole lot that I don't know still. There's a lot of blanks in the information that I'm trying to gather, and a huge part of this is being given the support necessary from everyone that would like to be involved in guiding this mission. But essentially, we're wanting to focus on a united vision. With it, this is essentially a task to promote Port Mansfield, promote the development of the harbor of Port Mansfield, the commercial industrial development. And at the same time, Port Mansfield carries a very unique challenge that I cannot find anywhere in the United States, and that there is now a community involved in a port business, and both of them have to work in unison, right? And so there's some very strong opportunities and benefits to what I found. So, okay. The three focuses that we've been asked, that we're being tasked with, and also wanting to be mindful of, is community outreach, bringing the community together, port development, and tenant acquisition, tenants to the harbor, development of the harbor. And in a very direct relationship, if we were just working with a harbor, port development, it's a very clear path. We're going after other ports, other commercial industries that work in the ports, etc. And so what we have is essentially, we have a port, we have a harbor that was created for an intent originally. We have a community that has developed itself, and the interest of a free market and the interest of personal community preference, and this is what's been developed, almost like maybe an old World War II Air Force base that got turned into something else, and now we're wanting to still take advantage and build and develop the original purpose of this harbor, and so it poses a challenge. How do we do one without having a conflict with the other? And learning and being educated on how we got here and how we have created a division in our priorities between the community and the port. This is the big challenge, because the first thing we need is support. The first thing we need is for everyone to feel as though this is the right direction we need to go. So essentially what our plan is focusing on is starting with where we are today. Okay. I come into this role started in the advertising business and the marketing business. I'm about to age myself in the 20th century. Okay. So, I've been doing this for quite some time. I've worked in the corporate environment, in the marketing and brand development. I've been doing this for a very long time. My experience in the port, I've been in environmental services business for 12, 15 years, working in every port in the state of Texas, responsible for about 10% of the revenue of the largest environmental services company in the United States and Canada. And I've learned about how ports are run, built, designed, the purpose behind them, that key target industry, the business that we want to cater to. And at the same time, we've got a community that's sitting right on this port. So I want to approach this like Switzerland. I don't have a dog in the fight. If I get involved with any of the history of the background, then I'm going to get drawn in the wrong direction. So we want to start with where we are today. I want to find a way to unify this message. And we need to drive the narrative. We need to drive the positive messaging and all the great things that are going on in the entire community between the harbor and the community of Port Mansfield. So how do we do that? So we go in and we're doing a bunch of research. We're going in and we're learning things. For example, in the Port of Port Mansfield website, we've had about 9,000 visitors in the past year, and we're averaging about 750 a month of just traffic, general traffic to the site. When I have a message, when we have to get out and tell people, well, all the great things that we're doing, I have to figure out, how do we get that message out to everybody? We only have about 750 people coming to the website right now. And if we look at the pages that they're going to, we've got a whole lot of traffic that's going to things other than what we consider the harbor primary mission to be. We have a website that caters to residential, to real estate, the different things that are happening in the community. In terms of how they're getting or who they're getting to this site, in the past year, that 9,000 visitors, as remote as the community of Port Mansfield is, I really expected to find your municipal website to be used by local folks that are reaching out for municipal permits, paying, that kind of thing. And what we found was just the opposite. We're all over, not only the United States and people that are reaching out to this website, but the last one on there is Singapore. Okay, so we're in LA, we got people from Fort Worth, Ashburn, Chicago, Raymondville. Believe it or not, there's only 120 users out of those 9,000 visitors, right? And so what I'm learning is that we have a platform that a lot of people are trying to find, a diverse universe, a national universe is trying to find, but we don't have that many people coming here. Okay. We don't have the traffic that's coming here. So how do we know how much traffic out there is potentially looking for Port Mansfield? Right now, monthly, the current searches for Port Mansfield per month is 12,400. There are 12,400 searches on average looking for various things having to do with Port Mansfield. The volume of search traffic reaching Port Mansfield website is 750 a month. Of those 12,400, our website is only gathering 750 of those. The number of keywords that drive 90% of the Port Mansfield traffic website is for Port Mansfield, Texas. This is essentially it. There are keywords out there, things to do with Port Mansfield, lodging, restaurants, fishing, all these things. If we look at that 12,400 audience every month, they're not looking for the Willacy County Navigation District. Okay, they're not looking for harbor. There are currently more searches for the Port Mansfield deer than there are for the Willacy County Navigation District. So how do we take advantage of that? How do we capitalize on that? What we find is that as we look into social media, as we look on the website, all these people are looking for a central Port Mansfield universe, right? And we can provide that for them. There's about 6 or 7 social media websites. Everyone's trying to satisfy a need. Some are retail based, some are people that have their own social media at Port Mansfield, but it's their own business. Some of them concerned citizens, etc. These are all platforms that indicate to us that there is a need for the community to unify their message and for us to be able to give them a platform in which all things Port Mansfield can can be found both on the website and in social media. There are thousands more interested party on social media than the website right now. So what we know is that 90% of the Port Mansfield internet search interest is dominated by tourism and visitor keywords. There's no unified resource for internet search for general Port Mansfield tourism interests. Whether it was in the original design of the responsibilities of the navigation district or not, this is the municipal leadership of a community. And this community is so at odds with what is identified as their leadership that they're attempting to build their own leadership structure, right? And so what I'm seeing is we've got our own messaging that we need to focus on. We've got port development we need to focus on, but we have an opportunity with little or no effort to bring the Port Mansfield interest, the commercial interest, into under our wing, and to support all local business in one unified website, give everyone a voice. There are businesses in there in this community that are investing dollars, blood, sweat, and tears to build the kind of commercial development that I think everyone is comfortable with. Some of them have websites and some of them don't. Having a centralized website, if transforming our website beyond a depth and capacity of the harbor, retaining all the basics of harbor data, but also allowing them to have a centralized place so that we can promote and drive all that great traffic to the local businesses that are struggling to do well in the community. We know that business development gravitates towards interest in a free market economy. Okay. And the interest is that 12,400 searches a month is interested in something other than the depth of the harbor. And the best way to support is to get it first. So what we're proposing is that we have a very unique campaign in which we call Port Mansfield United. We move forward and we move forward together. And as I'm reaching out to conversations in the community, conversations with board members, the term united is something that using, title. But exactly that proposing is that the navigation district needs the interest and traffic of the general interest of Port Mansfield to tell our story. And the community and the commercial business in Port Mansfield needs a unified website to promote their business. What I'm suggesting is we have the website. We know that in the current website, everyone has a few things that they'd like to modify, upgrade, change some wording on. Absolutely, this is what we want to do. The core of the website is about telling the story and promoting harbor development. No questions asked. But what we'd like to do is we'd like to just suggest to repurposing the website to focus on where we are now. Okay. If tourism, lodging, restaurants, entertainment is where people are searching, let's allow them to find it at our site. Let's let Google serve our site as a solution to what they're searching for. And all the great content, all the things that we want to talk about development and unity in our community actually gets read. Right? Let's take advantage of this gravity flow of interest, and we're just going to stand in front of it, and we're going to give them a place to read about everything that's going on. So, local business, local community, and port development. In terms of interest, in terms of search interest, in terms of what people care about when they look up Port Mansfield, that is the hierarchy of priority. And this is, as they say, the people have spoken. So what we're talking about is focusing on 3 categories on our website. And for the most part, the website right now kind of covers this, right? There's sections within the website that do this. We're just talking about realigning a little bit, okay? And so if we look at this website concept, okay, if in what we're talking about is we got tourism interest above, municipal support below. What would we find in the municipal support? We've got business development, permits, and community notices, Port Mansfield development, notices, board updates, community outreach, facility, all the things that we still find on the website. Above we create buckets in which we can turn around to all fishing interests, all lodging interests, all retail interests in our community and give them a place in which we can connect all of their wonderful businesses to this page. Should either A, if they don't have a website, if they do not have the resources for this, as a leadership, municipal leadership, we're supporting them by giving them a place where they can be found. If they do have digital footprint, then we connect to their stuff. But what we're doing is we're bringing all traffic to one place. We're elevating the volume of interest and traffic to our website. Google sees that and increases the ranking and the power of the website. And there's really no cost to this. Okay. And so that's the most interesting part. We're going to be making modifications to the website, creating some graphics and adding some links to all these wonderful businesses in the area. It's not a huge undertaking, but the value of providing support, providing a community the ability to find everything Port Mansfield in one place would be significant. And right now, I will tell you that the only thing that I would even consider requesting in compensation, if you will, for the local businesses is that we'll be printing bumper stickers that are Port Mansfield United, and we ask those businesses to prominently display the Port Mansfield United support. There's no catch to this. There's no gotcha. This is, we have a great community. We have great development. And if we start with where we are right now, in the one sentence response that I got when I asked Port leadership, give me a summary of what's happened in the past 12 months, what's going on right now, and what do we see in the future? The answer was, we've done nothing in 12 months. There's nothing going on now, and we do not see a future in terms of actual port development, harbor tenant acquisition. So if I'm in responsibility for public relations, if I'm responsible for telling a story, that story is going to come from everyone in the community. That's going to come from everybody in this board. Everyone here has something that they need to talk about. And so we'll take on the responsibility. I would be inviting everyone that wants to have updates going on the website or on social media, whatever. We need content, and we need to talk about the things that people care about. So creating a mass email, inviting everyone, all the businesses and board members that would like to be able to just submit what they'd like to talk about or what be posted. We would send out once a month, once every 2 weeks, whatever that frequency is, and solicit interest. If you have nothing to talk about, that's fine. If we have things that we'd like to talk about, we bring them in, as long as they follow, whatever specifications the board puts out as to what's appropriate, ethical, etc. I like to follow Rotary Club's rules of, is it fair to everyone, right? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? So if I could, because I just have to do this manually, because I know this is a little difficult because we're showing just some conceptual screens. But if I look at a mock-up of what we're talking about, slide this in. Yeah. If we're looking at a mock-up, the view and the function is generally the same thing, but what we're talking about is upgrading the purpose of the site by adding links to support the business and the folks in the community. We've got live links to Port Mansfield business developments live in Port Mansfield, but we also have links to fishing reports, business, real estate, etc. They can go into stay, fish, or eat, the categories of businesses that we have in our community, and we still retain all of the port notifications, the port commercial and industrial acquisition, etc., etc. This is the face, the front, and I'm not even. I just picked a couple photos, so if I pick the wrong property image or whatever, just forgive me, because we don't have any access to any images yet. That's also something that we don't have. But the concept here is to create a website that becomes a center universe of all things Port Mansfield and take advantage of all the traffic that's happening. We're not proposing some kind of a simple social media campaign where we talk about the sun's always shining in Port Mansfield and so forth. We're talking about creating a resource. We're talking about creating something that people want to use. Every time they want to get the tide report, they're going to come to this website. They want to get a fishery report. We connect with a couple local fishing guides and give them the opportunity to be the fishing report person. And we give them space on this website. So this becomes the resource for all things Port Mansfield and the navigation district. It's to take advantage of this. More people using the library, more narrative that we can share with everybody that is coming to our site. So in summary, in conclusion, we'll take advantage. We need to have a social media page. Right now, there's 6 or 7 that are not controlled by the navigation district. We need to use all those platforms out there, and I'm not going to bore you with all the great technology that's out there, and I'm doing my best not to drag us into a technical conversation. But the first thing is to create a central universe for all things Port Mansfield. And at the same time, we have a great opportunity to show unfettered support for local businesses simply by giving them links to all of the things that they want to do and giving them an ability to participate in the things that we're going to be sharing on a website like this and social media. So what kind of questions do we have about this?
Would this be would it wind up with 2 websites, one for what we currently have, one to promote
The idea would be is that we simply, the Port of Port Mansfield is the website. Okay, this would simply be the first page that you see, but basically the guts behind it would still do all the, it'd be almost identical.
Well,
with
you'd
the-
have some click and play down there about WCND, what we do here, Commissioner.
Absolutely, right below it where we see a small
Yeah.
part with a bright future.
Yeah.
We're also talking about, we're having to build blogs and content. Consider that right now, the greatest challenge for Port Mansfield that I can see is that we have a channel that's silting in, and we need movement and development in order to keep that channel open. And we're about to, as far as I'm being told, we're on the last funded dredging unless we develop business in the port. And I promise you, the community of Port Mansfield would find a way to support the ability to, with that, if that channel silts in, it's going to cut off commercial development, even on the what we call municipal level commercial stuff, restaurants, boats, that kind of thing. Nobody wants that. So we definitely would have all those great articles, contents, and things that we want to promote. This is a harbor website. What we're doing is we're simply taking advantage of all this interesting traffic, bringing it to one place. And here's what will happen. Because, and I'm going to cut myself off, but because these links are here, at the end of the month, if the navigation district so decides, I can even provide reports so that the local businesses can see just how much business came to them because of the website that we created. We can monetize that and help them see without any question that we truly are supporting the local businesses, right? We can give them proof that this website isn't just some pictures and buttons and stuff, but it's actually driving business and promoting what they care about.
Well, when there's some issue about us going to a .gov,
But we're still working on that. We've actually found that we can now. When we first set up the our site, .gov, we were told we weren't allowed to use it. Now we found out that we are potentially able to use it. I don't know at this point in the game with these guys if that's necessary, but our emails and stuff are going to convert hopefully within the next 60 days to a .gov. But yes, I don't know, this may know those things. People may not find it because people don't generally look for .gov when they go search. They look for .com.
Right.
So, right.
just trying to,
Sure.
we finally got some people that understand the port of Port Mansfield.
Right.
Way too long of a name.
Yeah.
I think you'll agree.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So now that they're going there, Cause out of habit, is it gonna redirect them to some other new website?
I love your question. What we can do is we can have multiple domains going to the same website. And so we can have a super short one. We can have something that's catchy and it's talking about, Port Mansfield Fun or PortMansfieldThisWeekend.com or what have you. We can have them of multiple ones. If we wanted one specifically for lodging or for the restaurants or whatever, we can even create those different addresses.
So theoretically, you could have portmansfield.gov website, but the portmansfield.com would direct there. So that
Yeah,
people wouldn't have to learn a new spot or whatever, or be chased away by the fact that it has a dot, because that .gov scares a lot of people away. As soon as they see it, they're like, "Oh, I want."
a lot of us create saved link to things.
Yeah, yeah.
And so we don't want to throw away the Port Mansfield because we could break some things for people. But what we can do, if we find a great name, if we want PortMansfieldUnited.com, which is available and is ready to register, but it still has Port Mansfield and the history and so forth, that's no problem. And that's where we come in on the technical side to make sure that happens. And the last thing, just to clarify is so that we understand truly what the challenge is with MPC and the website. We do not need to have any issue or conflict with your current website provider hosting service. Okay. We simply need access to the code so that we can do the things that we need to do. There are plenty of clients that we work with that our responsibility is simply to upgrade a website or create a website and it's hosted where you choose. But their response to us in writing is, we will not allow you to have access to the code. And if the navigation district wants you to have access to the code, they will need to terminate our contract and agreement and have somebody else do it. That was their response to us. And that is about as hard of a door close as we can get. And is the primary reason why we're simply in a holding pattern. And what I'm hoping to do today is to give everybody not just what we want to do, but some of the science behind it. And we're not just guessing, we're not just pitching some idea. We see the data, we know where the audience is, and we can do a wonderful job of not only supporting the community, but take advantage of this natural interest that Port Mansfield attracts.
So out of this, reading between the lines, this 90-day content that was presented to us with the original contract,
Mhm.
we're 60 days into now. It's not happened due to the fact that MPC is not cooperating.
It's not only has it not happened, but it hasn't been built for. Nothing has taken place. There's two reasons why. One, yes, we have to fix the website before we create a brand on social media that doesn't match anything that we're doing. But on the social media side, we were supposed to be on the agenda in the last month. And this brand, this campaign, this thing that we're wanting to promote, I really needed y'all's blessing before we went out and started pressing it. And on that, I will tell you that because of the timing issue, in an effort to start the solidarity and an effort to start the unification of the community, because the fishing tournament is coming up, Port Mansfield's 50th anniversary fishing tournament is coming up, reaching out to the chamber. Not only have I found them sponsorship support for the kids pig and perch division so that we can help support that, but I've also taken the liberty, and this is not funded by y'all, but providing the Port Mansfield fishing tournament $1,000 worth of advertising promotion campaign under the Port Mansfield United name, asking simply that we're branded within the sponsors and the promoters of the fishing tournament. So unfortunately, just because of timing, I don't want to, I would never walk in and say, oh, by the way, we did this. But our last meeting, it would have been, timing wise, would have been plenty for everybody to kind of absorb this. It's a huge opportunity for us to introduce this brand to the community and let people see it. If it's not the direction we want to go, we can simply kill the campaign, and that's the last time that we see that brand, and we can discuss a different direction.
I mean, I'm listening to it and I'm looking at it and I did took the time to review our current website and I read every single word that was in it. It was my night reading at one time. And I hate to say it, but that was Mickey Mouse stuff. It sounded like it was written by a high school kid. It just had no depth, had no direction, had no substance based on it. And I'm listening to you and seeing, and I really like this idea of united. Folks, I don't want to live in the past. I think there's a bright future. I think we can draw the line and say from here on forward, this is what we're going to do because it's going to help the community. It's going to help the, everyone in place, especially businesses. One of my questions is what do we consider commercial? Because I think I was telling Mr. Kennedy, I was at Rockport this weekend and I was very impressed with everything that's going on in there. Of course, two different communities. I understand that, just the statute of the makeup of the municipalities. But I think there's some elements that I saw in Rockport that can be here at Port Mansfield if we work together. It may not be about barges and these things, but it may be about some different type of harbor business that would help us. And I'm not saying let's not do one or the other, but let's consider both. Let's work together. I mean, we don't have the infrastructure, the funding to fix drainage dishes. Come on, we need to generate some revenue. We need to do these things, and tourism and all of those things will help us get those funds for that. So I get excited. I'm excited about what you've proposed or what you guys have put together. I'm saddened and I'm quite perturbed that you haven't been able to move forward because of the issues with the current carrier, but we can fix that.
We're hoping that you can, because it is a frustration. You've asked us to look at this thoughtfully.
Yeah.
Look at the community, look at what is happening in your agendas, and look at what's happening in the decisions that you're making here. Look at the activities that Ron is producing, and come up with a game plan, an idea, an ideology. I gave you a time frame, which I must say right now on record, I cannot start that because we're stuck. We did a thoughtful and smart and logical assessment of what you have now. And it is accruing very little interest. Put your money somewhere in a bank where it accrues almost no interest. You're not going to do that ever. And we're asking you to change that. We're asking you, we've got a better way of investing. Emmett and the team looked at every single aspect of attracting business. He showed it to you today. He proved it to you today. We reached out to the community. But again, we're stuck in a platform and we're ready to launch and we haven't done so. And we need your help.
How do we fix it? What do we do to fix that problem?
Well, you don't have an action item, but I think the idea is to let us do what we need to do by handling your website.
I'm okay with that. If we can put that on the agenda for the next meeting,
Yes, no problem.
because we need to move forward with this, guys. I like the expertise, the experience, the process, and I'm gonna say it again. I like this unity working together for a better Port Mansfield.
The next step in terms of development of this project would be, I don't know formality of your board, but creating a meeting in which those that want to participate in the development of the new content to convene. I gather all the information and we create a specific scope of work by page as to what every page is supposed to do, what content, what function, et cetera, et cetera. We build this entire outline and then we execute and produce that product for you. So that that we're not going to just get let loose and go figure out what we want to do. There's a lot of very important input in this room. There are things there's a lot of lessons and wisdom that we don't have. And so we got to keep our ears open and focus on what's important to everybody that wants to be involved in this project.
I mean, I really appreciate you reaching out to the chamber and people out in the community, and I encourage you to keep doing that, to get some of that you just described, because this is not just about us here. It's about everyone in the navigation district that's involved. So keep reaching out.
The door stickers,
Yep.
the sponsorship, those are all board affairs matters. Those are all included in what you, within your so kind of nuts involved.
We appreciate
That's on
that.
us. Not on you.
So unfortunately, it's not an action item, but it is a great presentation. We finally get to see the big picture, as they say. Again, we're troubled that you can't move forward until this other thing happens, but we can fix that. And I'm speaking for myself. I mean, when I talked about public relations, when we talked about public relations in our initial strategic planning, this is what I had in mind, was how do we move it to this level?
You know, and it's where the community is excited about this thing. The leaders, folks that I spoke to, the mayor, the county judge, they all wanted to, what are you doing up there? We're doing this. When are we gonna be on it? So you mentioned social media aspect. So there is some excitement, there is some of the feeling of united. That when we spoke to them, we didn't want to mention the campaign, but we're eager to do this. We're eager to put our best foot forward, but it goes nowhere if you don't allow us to do what we need. And we really need to get involved. I assured you, I promised you some things, but still those things are not. We haven't started.
Ron, is there anything we can do with MPC to access? And I would hate to wait another month for things to happen.
No, I'll work with Emmett
Okay.
and the NPC guy communicate multiple times a week, and I'm in the loop. So I've understood what's going on in the background. They did make one attempt to do the code thing, and it crashed NPC's entire network. So they changed their mind and said, "Oh, let's not do that." And so, yeah, I'll just call them. We'll get something going. We'll fix it sometime the next day or so.
Okay,
Any other questions?
thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right. Next item. This is a public hearing and action on a resolution providing for the assumption and indebtedness in the amount of $2 million for repairs and improvements to the seawall, bulkhead, and other authorized projects, pledge of collateral, and addressing related matters. First is public hearing.
And if anybody in the audience would care to make a comment or have input into this
Or ask questions.
or ask questions, you're welcome. So,
Happy to. Have a few questions. Hold on just a minute. I think the last meeting was the special meeting. There was no definite terms used as type of loan y'all were getting. Okay, it was just general. I would hope y'all would be specific about that today. What kind of loan you're gonna get. Mr. Mills was unclear, and I don't think Mr. Kennedy was actually, y'all were just like back and forth on type of loan, and it was not clear. That's okay, but what are the terms of the loan? What's the payback on the loan? What's the percentage of the loan? If you can share that with us today.
I can address all that for you.
Who is going to administer this loan as far as the navigation district? Who is going to, where is the checks and balances going to be with this loan? Is it going to be commingled with any other monies that we have, that you have in your general fund? And what lands, properties are going to be in the collateral issue with this loan? And do you know that? And what appraiser is going to appraise this land? Is it going to be the bank, and who's paying for the appraisal? I'll just make a last statement. There's no loan that's a good loan until it's paid for. Okay, so the initiative for the navigation district would be get this thing paid for, because I know that interest on commercial interest is not cheap right now.
Right. Okay, to address some of your issues, Steve and I went and met with Phil Tennant. He's the chief lending officer for Community Bank. We do have to do an appraisal. And what we're proposing is the 409 acres. That's, I guess, out behind the airport,
Orange or gold area.
which has been surveyed in the past. And also, they didn't feel like that was going to appraise for enough because it's going to be appraised at raw land. So we don't know what that appraisal is going to be. I don't know what land has been selling for around Raymondville, that area. They have to do comps, and we'll have to just see what they come up with. But we also did propose that we could use section 2 and 3 of the Newport subdivision that hasn't been developed yet, and that still belongs to the navigation district. So it's not going to encumber any property other than property that the navigation district owns. Won't be any lease property or any of that kind of stuff. The appraisal is going to take 2 to 3 weeks. We do pay for that. At first, they were just going to do the 409 acres, and we told them to go ahead and get section 2 and 3 appraised also at the same time. And that way we don't have to come up with the 409 is not enough. And then we got to wait another 2 or 3 weeks to get another appraisal on the other property. So we're just going to pay to do the whole thing. It probably costs us another $200 or $300 more to do it. He said the appraisal is going to run around $1,000 to $1,500. So it's not a big deal. And it will be an independent appraisal. It won't be done by the bank. They have to, I guess he said they had to go out for bids on it.
Have
Yeah.
you collected your appraiser yet?
No, the bank's doing the appraisal.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We pay for it, but they pick who under the banking regulations. So that they stay in good grace.
The loan amount is going to be for 1.5 million, not for 2 million. And it will be a revolving line of credit. It's not a loan, it's a line of credit. So we only pay interest on the money we got out. And hopefully, once these payments start rolling through TxDOT, as long as we don't have any issues with them paying it, it should flow pretty easy. The money will, we'll borrow the money, pay the contractor, it gets submitted to TxDOT. TxDOT sends us a check. We send that right back to the bank.
So basically, this is to cover the cash flow.
That's
It is.
That's all it is.
Flow
That's all it is.
revenue is all it is. Yeah.
We- Also, Virginia and I have identified, she's already ordered checks to create a completely independent account. The checks will be written off
Separate.
that account and the deposit will make back into that account and it will only stay there. It won't be intermingled with any other funds. It'll only be for that.
The appraisal, and I didn't realize this until we talked with him on what they consider vacant land, which is raw property, which is what we're looking at using for collateral. You only get 65% of what the appraised value is. If it was farmland or residential, it's 85%.
And just as to make a statement, that's contrary to when we talked to them 2 years ago, when we
Right.
actually thought about this, because we were told, identify that 400 acres, we're gonna lynch it as ranch land
Ranch.
and we'll loan you the money on ranch land.
Yeah.
And now they've changed it to a completely different position.
Well, but if you look at the original 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And
Oh, they had lots of stuff.
we had all of section 1, 2, and 3
Yeah. And the queuing.
and queuing yard.
Yeah.
So,
Mm.
Yeah, roughly $18 million worth of property they wanted to tie up
No.
on $3 million.
Mm.
yeah. We made that pretty clear.
Yeah,
Right.
We also made it clear we have another option.
Right.
But if you ever let them think they got you in the corner, they're not gonna let you out.
we do still have Plains Capital. I've
No.
already talked to them since we talked and
Yeah, when we visited with Mr. Tennant, they were very adamant that they want to do this for us. That there's going to be some way we're going to get it done. And, the interest rate right now, prime's at 7.5%. We don't know where we're going to be at on that, but it's going to be somewhere in that neighborhood. It's not going to be below prime, but it may not be much above prime. They're really willing to work with us.
All the interest that you're paying into the TxDOT?
no.
No,
No, you're out.
Yeah.
We'll have to pay the interest.
that's why we,
2 or 3 months, whatever.
Quick turnaround.
yeah, we don't want the money out for very long.
Again, is the delay in getting the money from TechStrata?
It's just a procedural
Process,
process.
yeah.
The way TechStop works,
Hasn't this been going on for a
Forever.
year?
yeah, more, well, this is a new project and
New problems.
new problems, new reorganization at TechStop, but fundamentally, you send your purchase request or you pay a check, you send the proof to TechStop, usually within 24 to 48 hours, they have it. They have 14 days to look through and find errors. After that 14 days, if everything's perfect, which in all these years, even different, now I have 2 different engineering firms involved, never has it gone through the first try. So it comes back. When it comes back, it goes back to the bottom of the pile. They don't put it in where it left. It goes back to the bottom of the pile. So there's 2 more weeks. And then it goes to finance. And if finance finds a problem, it comes back, goes back to the bottom pile again. So we're taking 8 to 12 weeks minimum get refunded monies from any TechStop payment we make. Right now, we have $974,000 outstanding.
To pay anything?
Not a penny yet. I suspect within the next week or 2, we'll get the first one back, which is $186,000. But
We need to set.
we're out $1 million. Basically, we're loaning the state of Texas $1 million to them to pay us back, and they're drawing interest on it. So I had a lengthy discussion with the contractor yesterday for a couple hours. They're more than content to continue with the project, understanding there's going to be at least another 3 weeks before they get another payment, even though they're due a payment already. So we kind of worked out an agreement between us because they understand the TechStop problem, that is the issue. So that's why we need to do this. Only reason we're doing this is because TechStop won't. If I was able to write a check on Monday and get it back in 2 weeks, we wouldn't do this. But the problem that we're having is before our first project we did, which was a queuing yard, all of our invoices went to FAR, were processed usually within about 5 days, and went to the state. And within 21 to 28 days, we got our money back. That's not the case anymore. Now,
So that was
It goes
for
somewhere.
the queuing yard.
The queuing yard.
This is for the,
this is for the seawall. Yeah, different, same organization, same pot of money theoretically, but the way they process it is different. Used to be every port in Texas went through their local region. They've done away with that. Now we have to report straight to the Maritime Division in Austin. It makes sense. That's logical. The problem is they're the bureaucrats, and these guys out in the field have already been on the site. They sign it off. They take care of it. And so that slowed the process down by weeks. So that's where we're at.
thank you.
In your meeting with, Russell, they submit another invoice.
They did not hand me an invoice. They have 2 that are pending. They're both with this project manager, CSRS, and our engineers. They're doing their review on them to get them in order. I know the total value on those 2s is going to be around $600,000 for the 2 that are going to come in next. But they are accepting the fact that we're not going to give them a check until we get something either back from TechStop or we get this thing straight with them.
And they're good with it.
They're cool with it. As of yesterday.
And they're
And that
used
was
to
with the vice president. Yeah, exactly. It was the vice president of the company and their project manager. Both were in my office for a couple hours.
And if I may add to that, on another entity that I am with, it's not only TechStop.
everybody.
We're dealing
My
with
grants
DLO
too.
with about 12 million.
Cost reimbursement.
that
That's what it is.
we've allocated. And to get the closing of $5,000, it's taken us 3 months. And it's what Ron just said. You send it to this department, and this department sends it to this department. They'll find something wrong, they'll push it back. And we're just talking about $5,000-6,000 to close a multi-million-dollar project that we have. But it's that's just bureaucracy, you know? I mean, what can we do? And it's not just TechStop, it's
Everyone.
HUD,
Yeah,
GLO.
I'm going through that myself with my work. It's cost reimbursement and it takes time to process.
Did I answer all your questions, Mark?
Yes.
Anybody else got any other questions, comments? It's open, you can speak up, whatever you want.
Are you not gonna do phase 2?
No, we are not going to do this. No.
Mm-mm.
They've officially advised the contractor and the project manager, and I'll be writing a letter to TechStop today to advise them was not going to be phase 2. But the people that are involved in the field already know.
Oh, it's not that between them. Just make sure there was no work performed to that crack hole over there, never scraped the ground.
I saw it scrape the ground. I saw it.
I went over there personally, got out of my truck and walked around. And it,
Yeah.
So wherever, whatever, it looked
Well,
like.
they said he was looking for dead men that are holding
That's
up
what
that
they
whole
were.
sewer.
That was their purpose.
Looking for, but they never got to that point.
Yeah, and they know that, and yeah.
We don't owe them anything for any of that. Gonna move their equipment out, I
Yeah,
assume.
that's it.
They need it somewhere else.
Which will probably in the long run save us some money.
It will. Well, in some areas. Problem is, one of the problems is all the materials for this project were ordered in January, February when it was awarded, and they ordered out of Turkey. So we have material that has now been, is obligated, has no return option.
They'll probably do something with it.
We'll figure something.
Yeah. we'll work.
So if we add the Newport subdivision to the 409 acres, about how many acres of,
110 lots,
It's 137 lots.
137
But
lots.
the remaining amount of lots is actually 90 lots. I'm gonna say, I'll have to give you a ballpark right now. Is going to be roughly 75 acres. Roughly, at the ballpark,
how many acres was it?
roughly 75 more.
75.
It's already platted into 137 different lots. It just hasn't been,
Looking at 484 acres total.
I'll get you the exact number later.
Okay,
I'm putting, what I'm doing right now is I'm modifying the resolution that I sent you.
right.
I mean, approximate is okay, as long as we have it in the exhibit. But what I'm gonna do is I've modified this to include Newport, approximately 485 acres. And if I can email it to somebody to print out,
Sure.
so we can execute it
Send it to me.
here today.
That property appraises, what do you say, about 2,000 an acre? Or he was thinking more
Yeah,
like
he was saying some ranch land recently is sold at,
4,000.
4,000.
Mhm.
When they gave us the original comment 2 years ago, they were saying 2,000 an acre for 400 acres. That's what he originally.
Since we're still in a public hearing, can I ask if y'all, if now you've heard from, the PR firm and Port Mansfield United, he talked about barges not being a solution. Have y'all thought at all about after you've spent all this money and we have a seawall, we have the big parking lot? Maybe the government, but the Coast Guard could come back. That would help with keeping the channel open, that 80-foot cutter that they had over there tied up at where phase 2 is.
Discussed, yeah.
Yes, it is.
They could set up oil field man camp housing on that slab. Solve two problems.
Yeah,
This, we're on the loan.
Yeah,
right.
Public hearing is all.
Okay, if it appraises at 4,000 acres, then, I mean, we should be in pretty good shape
Yeah.
as far as the loan. Okay, you got the new resolution completed?
I'm sending.
We'll need to vote on that. Accepting the
yeah,
resolution.
as he's gonna,
Well,
in the interim.
even at 65%, that's not gonna get us to 1.5.
And that's all I have on the agenda, on the resolution.
The question is, do we need 1.5? Do we need 1.5?
Well, we were asking for 2.
I put up to 2.
Bill told us it was gonna be for 1.5. And I understand what you're saying, but if we've got,
I mean, the appraisal says this is what it is. Can we work with that? We
They
don't
have
know
to.
until then.
yeah, we may have to.
Yeah.
But if it comes in at 4,200 or 4,500 an acre, then we're good.
Good. We'll see.
Yeah, we're just gonna have to wait till they get the appraisal and we may have to readjust this. That's why I asked the other day is if if we do have to readjust it and add something else, do we have to have another public hearing or can we just redo the
I
resolution?
was saying, we want to mention other property that we might encumber in this resolution. We should do it now, because
I think so.
otherwise we're gonna have to come back and have to renotice.
Right.
And it doesn't mean we have to use it.
Doesn't
I
mean,
don't think we have to use it, no.
Eric, are you just guessing at the sales price? Is that very?
Yeah, we don't know for a couple of weeks what the appraisal is gonna come in.
Just guessing that it won't add up to enough.
Yeah.
That is correct. We don't know.
We don't know. Just like you say, I'm just guessing at it.
The question is what property?
Yeah, well,
Do we
the
have
only other. You have. Yeah, this over here. This section of land. You have all this right here. True. So that's all on my navigation district.
Before you go back out, what about that other behind,
Yeah, stuff that we
Yeah.
behind North Shore? Back there,
Back here.
all that land back there.
Yeah. Airport, this would be on the, I guess that'd be the north side of the airport. I don't know how big a piece of property that is, but we may wanna,
Let me hop
we may
on,
wanna add that into it.
let me hop on Willis Academy.
What we don't wanna do, if we don't have to, is include property in there that we may be able to sell later.
Exactly. We don't want to do that.
All this is gonna do is authorize this, it's not gonna require us.
I'm sure there's an extra couple hundred acres on the north side.
Yeah,
I would focus there first.
yeah, let's do that.
And we can include it, not necessarily use it if we don't need to. It's
Yeah.
easier to
Right.
remove and not to add.
Only
And with us not knowing what the appraisal is gonna be, we just guessing at it.
praise, you're gonna have to go in there and
Survey.
Yeah,
survey.
and the term on this loan is for 2 years. So we have up to 2 years to
Utilize it.
utilize the line.
Now,
That should be enough.
personally, I think
Plenty, yeah.
for a small amount of money, once you get it approved for the small amount of money it takes to keep it going after 2 years, I think we'd be way ahead having that here available if it ever,
In case.
some other board runs up against something.
Yeah. As long as we don't
Or
encumber property that we maybe take to sell later.
Correct.
hold on,
But you can always
I think
call the line of credit, take the lien off and
The north end,
north of the airport.
yeah, unfortunately, it's not separated out on,
Oh, it's not surveyed?
so.
It's actually would probably be very hard for us to do anything because it we're probably listed as wetlands. And as soon as it's registered as wetlands, you can't do anything.
Yeah. Well, what we're talking about doing is going ahead and adding some more property.
in case.
So I think I'll thank you guys to do it again.
Yeah, so we don't have to come back and do this again.
Here.
Well, that's the other one that we were looking at.
Yeah.
That one's probably more feasible.
I mean, it's never, where the proposal was to put apartments.
Yeah, we looked at that and then there's another section just past the RV park.
Over here.
Yeah,
That whole field area, there's
Which,
all of this right here.
okay,
Land located north of 186.
yeah, and that's all commercial property.
That is all commercial.
So that would appraise very well.
Oh, no, and that's listed as commercial property and it's intended for warehousing, so it should have a value. to
Yeah.
The bank.
Is there a lot number or section number for that?
we got block.
So that could be our extra just in case.
Just in case.
That discussion that you had with them, it was what we hit, what,
This side.
yeah.
We didn't include that.
No.
We did.
No, all we included was the 409 and then the phase 2 and 3 of the Newport. We were kind of surprised at the numbers that we were looking at as far as what we think the appraisal's gonna be. And that's just it. We just don't know until,
We
If
talked
it's-
to them about because they had stated this 2 years ago when they're saying that. So there's actually 100 lots that are in 2 and 3. So based on our sale price right now, if you discount those 50% as far as appraisal value, right? Tried to get them to take that, and then as you sell them, you know, it's like they said, that proceed would come back.
Sure.
But he said, no, they're not.
Yeah, they don't wanna,
Bad idea. Lot 21?
They weren't developed, so they didn't want to do, they wanted to count it as raw land. That block.
So if we say, according to CAD, we've got property ID 29,953, which is estimated to be 10.46 acres. And then we have
Yeah, that's correct.
the-
Pretty darn close to it.
That's hotel.
And actually half of this is available.
yeah, that's the piece I was looking at.
This, the road for the airport runs right through
Yeah,
here,
yeah.
and that side of it is undeveloped.
Let's add that.
Hmm?
Just add it.
But I'd have to give you specific lots.
Yeah,
Can't do the whole block because this side's part of the RE park.
Uh,
Actually, you know what? No, it's not. You could also include block 20, which you can.
20 and 21?
20 in.
Okay,
this is 21 and,
Yeah, 22 is not available because some of it's at least.
okay, so.
Yeah, we don't wanna do
that's
that.
where they're gonna come
We'll start
from.
guessing at stuff.
Yeah, yeah. This is all commercial, that.
Yeah, everything in this orange is commercial.
Yeah, that should appraise pretty good. I would think.
so is it fair to say approximately 11 acres out of
Yeah.
block 21?
Yes.
20 and 21, right?
Yeah, 21 was 11 acres. And
Oh, 11
and
acres.
20 is another block.
So we want to add 20?
Yeah, so she's doing that, I think.
Okay. And 20 is how many acres?
It's gonna be roughly the same, maybe, yeah, but it's probably 9.5.
So we're adding 20, 21 and 28.
Okay.
Where are those lots again? By the airport?
Basically, it's the stuff behind the airport and between 186 and the airport.
Yeah.
Twenty-eight. 28 is already.
It's not 28, but. That's right here.
Yeah, this is 20,
No, yeah,
not 21.
21.
This is 20.
Okay, okay.
20 and 20.
Yeah.
20 and 21. And if we have to, the
28.
detail was marked out,
Across the
So-
unit,
That's extra.
but it's not planted.
not
So
platted.
can you show me on the map? to make sure
Certainly.
I got it correct?
This is 20.
Okay,
I'm sorry, this is 21.
right.
okay. This is 20, basically at the end of the airport.
Okay, so 20 and
The
21.
road to the
Correct.
airport goes right
That is
here.
correct.
Okay, and then 20 is about how many acres?
Say about 9.5.
So is it fair to say approximately 20 acres out of lots 20 and blocks 20 and 21, Fort Mansfield original town site?
Yes.
Yes.
We need to notify Mr. Tennant,
Well, I have an email from him in my inbox. I just got
Okay.
during the meeting. I'll
Yeah,
send
just-
it.
tell them we're gonna add that. So when they do the appraisal, just get it all done at one time. It's not a bad deal. I mean, we kind of get an idea what the property
Oh, no,
is.
absolutely, sure. Helps us come up with some better numbers on how much we lease it for.
Yeah,
Always a
True.
problem. Always a problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, there you go.
Approximately.
Are we out of the public hearing?
Until you read the
We have to-
resolution, which you have
gotta
to print out
vote.
again.
Oh, okay.
it's an action item, so we have to vote on the resolution once she.
Yeah, I'm finishing it right now.
We're not in a hurry. I don't think. I'm not hungry yet.
Its stomach hasn't
Speak for
grown yet.
yourself.
I haven't had breakfast.
And there's no logical reason why, other than continuous payment. I always thought it was because of the eminent domain. The way it was originally set up, required, and it turns out that it wasn't the case.
You said you work with kids. You have so many pictures in your phone.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, well, I just finished a lot of fishing tournament stuff with kids at the island, charter fishing. I was looking for a picture from that art show, but I didn't take a single picture.
I actually have a friend of mine that does that.
There's some really cool stuff.
He's a dealer, art dealer. You know, John, yeah. He would be happy to put on something like that.
I was telling you, it just, I was just really impressed. And people, from
Yeah.
that was huge.
I wish we'd have started this process several months ago.
But we never really had a cash flow problem. It just bottled up on us.
Well, we knew we were gonna have to get the line.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just, like I said, it should have started on it a lot earlier. So then we wouldn't have been in this position. This would all been done.
We did start the conversation a while back.
And
And then it,
Steve and I both. Let's get it done months ago.
yep.
Eric, on this was all correct. That answered that. We got all the information from,
Yeah, we went through
that was my question.
up here.
Appreciate you doing that.
Yep.
We'll see how it goes over.
Well,
We need to remember what
wow.
caught myself before, not knowing that.
Maybe.
My dad says, if you do the right thing, let the chips fall where they may.
Yep.
Falcon and every stuff. The Florida Reds is, Corpus Christi,
Want me to go, sir?
I need to read this.
You don't have to read it.
Okay.
Just- But if we're gonna
Summarize it.
approve it, which you haven't.
It's all pretty much the same, except that you want a new copy of page one for each commissioner?
Please.
That's where the numbers have changed.
Well, afterwards is fine.
Okay.
Save time.
You're 180 long. That's why I'm feeling it.
Okay, so basically what this is gonna read, we'll get everybody a copy of it, is that we're applying for a revolving line of credit up to $2 million. And we're going to use for collateral was it 500 and
Approximately 505 acres.
be sections 1 and 2 of Newport subdivision.
Well, 2 and 3.
2 and 3.
I mean, 2 and 3, I'm sorry. It says 2 and 3 on here. Sections 2 and 3, or phase 2 and 3 of Newport subdivision, which is approximately 20 acres. Mansfield original town site blocks 20 and 21. And then the 409 acres out behind the airport or by the airport. Everybody good with that?
Sir?
So with that, we need a motion to accept this resolution number 2025-002. Motion's been made by Commissioner Cavazos. We need a second.
I'm Steve.
Stick your finger in the pie.
So we have a
I
motion.
second the
Should
motion.
we have a second?
Yeah.
Yes.
A second made by Commissioner Trevino. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. I'm scared there for a minute.
Why he's gonna do it? He's a money guy.
Yeah. Okay, Port Director's report.
The only thing I don't consider major significant, but I wanted to do it in this forum, because it's being put on live stream, so a lot more people will hear it, is that North Alamo, our water supply, that supplies the Port Mansfield Public Utilities with drinking water, has put their customers on stage 4 drought control. So, the Public Utility Board accepted that to take effect on August the 5th. It was when we put it in effect because there's some restrictions are involved. And we want to make sure that word gets out in advance. So fundamentally, what does that mean? It means you can't wash your cars, you can't wash your boats, you can't wash your airplanes, you can't wash anything basically. You can only water with an irrigation system for 2 hours in the morning and or 2 hours in the afternoon. I'm sorry, 3 hours in the morning, 3 hours in the afternoon on specific days, which we discussed in the meeting. I don't have them committed to memory right now. But basically, if you live in an even numbered house, you'll be able to water on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and odd is Monday and Wednesday, I believe, for 2 hours or 3 hours in the morning and 3 hours in the afternoon. But you cannot use a sprinkler system. It has to be with a hose and or a bucket. Okay, you can have a nozzle on the hose to do better disbursement or whatever, but you cannot use sprinkler heads on the end of a water hose, and you cannot use fixed automated sprinkling system. So other things that are impacted is pools. If you have a pool, you cannot empty it and refill it. You can't fill it the first time if it had never been filled. You can add water to it, and there won't be any regulation on when. Just whenever you think you need to add water, we're okay with that. People who have pools have referred it to us that it doesn't make enough difference in the water bill to add water to your pool to make a difference in your bill. So we're not too worried about it. But there will be no new pools permits issued. To give you an idea what that looks like overall, stage 4 is in effect now. They're actually concerned that we will go into stage 5, which basically says you can take a shower and drink water, and that's about all you can do. And that'll be valley-wide, not just in Port Mansfield. These rules, I'm telling you, are valley-wide rules. The goal is to get back, obviously, to stage 3 and into stage 2. So If you're in stage 4, you will not be allowed to put water in a pool if it doesn't have water or drain it and refill it. There's a little more to it than that. I will be putting out a notice, and we're considering creating banners to put at the entrance in town where people, for the tourists, when they come in, they see it. The only way you can wash your car, truck, boat, or otherwise is with a pressure washer. And decision was made by the PUD board to make that modification because the provisions allow for commercial car washes, which we don't have any drive-through commercial car washes, but our commercial car washes in town are pressure washers. So if we're telling commercial car washes, they can stay open for a certain number of hours a day. And it's kind of hard to say, hey, locals, you don't have a right to wash your boat. So that modification will be, you can wash your cars, trucks, boats with a pressure washer. So you're not wasting huge copious amounts of water by doing it by a bucket or whatever. So, that's a big change, and it's going to get bigger if it goes any lower. Give you an idea, the Falcon Lake is at 21%. If it goes to 17%, stage 5 kicks in. It was almost 17% last summer. So there's a chance it could happen. They will take it back to stage 3 only, which is what we're at now. Only if the lake gets back to 25%. And all that rain that fell last week that we all thought, wow, wonderful rain amount of rain.
Not getting that.
Falcon Lake didn't get it. It went up less than 1%.
Canyon Lake and Travis got
Which is
a
one
lot.
they needed it because Canyon Lake is actually listed worse than Falcon Lake as far as
Yeah.
volume.
That was a desert already.
And Choke Canyon, same way.
Yeah.
Okay.
The,
And you wanna-
Steve and I were both at the PUD meeting the other day, and I think the commissioners there did a really good job trying to help the guides and the fishermen as far as being able to wash their boats and things like that. They could have cut that out completely, and that would just been devastating to a lot of people. So they did a really good job of trying to modify this a little bit to help everybody out. I think we need to post some notices on the docks. You know, just be mindful when you're cleaning your fish. Don't leave the water hose running or the sink running. And just the little things, you know. And I also think we need to put a sign coming into town to alert people that are from out of town that, hey, we're under water restrictions, so be mindful.
And they're all
of water
coming,
usage.
they're all coming from places that have water restrictions,
Right.
just as severe as ours. And they're gonna say, well, I'm gonna take my boat over there and I'm gonna wash at Port Mansfield, thinking they can use our water. Well, they don't realize that we're at the end of the line. We're the last faucet in North Alamo system, so we don't have any.
Wasn't there a discussion around the commercial car washes that we do have,
Yes.
only operating a certain number of hours?
I have to go reread the note on that, but I believe the rationale was how do we make that happen?
Yeah,
Because we
what a
had
way to
turn-
regulate it.
Turn the well to back, that kind of thing. And that was the problem, was we were gonna leave these guys that we really, our rules say we're gonna regulate, but we really don't have the physical means to do that. So we're like, well, then we're forcing our local people to put their boats on trailers and drive them over and wash them off.
Yeah, most of that's out of town folks that are washing their boats before they go home. Yeah,
Yes, but I have to read what your wording became on that one.
yeah.
I'm-
I know we talked about it.
Yeah, I'm rewriting the rules on it.
Any other questions for Ron?
Any business proposals, Ron, that have come to your desk?
Thing too, they're in the background that I told them that bring me a business plan that includes the names and sources for the boats, tugs and barges and whatever they're going to use. So we can actually contact those vendors and those partners so that we can make sure it's real. Stuff that we had talked with our last one that didn't have numbers and names. Now I'm putting it on them. They can't bring me a proposal to give to you guys until that is
Okay.
part of it. So I will say, I just wanted to clarify this because I stumbled on it literally by watching a TV show. I did find somebody in the United States who is actively doing what we've been proposing now for the last 3 years of Port Mansfield, to go from a port in Mexico to Port Mansfield on a container on barge service. And there is an active services available that is out there that is doing it. They do it on a 6-day turnaround. That it basically provides the services I've been trying to propose for a long time. So I've already talked to the president of the company once, going to talk to him some more so we can find out how realistic this is, or if it is like the gentleman said and Jack commented on, This container's not a viable option. Well, this guy will know because he's doing it for a living, so.
Are they a port in Texas or?
No, it's only two in the whole United States. One's in Delaware and this one's in Florida. This one's going from Florida to Puerto Rico, which is basically the same concept as Mexico does.
Okay. Anything else? Review and discussion on building authorizations issued for the month of June 2025. There's not very many. Two, in fact, there's two. Item 8, review and consideration of residential commercial transfer of leases, both stall leases, transfers, and collateral transfers of lease. And there's no commercial assignments. There's one new residential, one collateral transfer, and 2 assignment of lease transfers, and these are all residential.
So move.
Motion made by Commissioner Trevino. Second by Commissioner Kendrick. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Review and consideration of checks and vouchers and any discussion or comments on monthly budget report.
No, Rob, if there's been any activity trying to calculate what our new commercial and residential lot lease income is gonna be.
The number, the only thing we've actually worked on is the commercial because they come out to my
Right.
semi-annual portal. That's been done. It's been updated and it's going to, we're gonna probably lose a few bucks on that one because the stuff that we're paying 36 or 24. So it's pretty much a wash on the commercial side, not much different. Residential, we have just barely even started. We've done a few. Anybody who gets a new lease, anything that's in that pile has a new rate in it. As a general rule, though, we haven't done anything because the billing doesn't go out till next March, so we haven't rushed it, but we can speed it up.
I thought we had discussed that.
Well, we know fundamentally what it's gonna be.
Yeah,
We
because
want to
we,
get that.
remember, we didn't include it in the budget,
No,
because we weren't gonna get it till next year.
In, right.
exactly. I was just curious.
Yeah, sure. No, we haven't moved forward on that.
Know what the numbers,
The commercial is done, or a good
Yeah.
portion of it is, but the other one,
we figured commercial would be.
minuscule.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Y'all have any questions on the balance sheet?
There's been very little activity and I don't expect it to change anything.
That we don't need any activity.
That's why we're here.
So we get our money back from Tech Dot.
So next month, y'all might catch this, but. P and L back there under the second page, it says publicity and promotion.
Yeah.
Says $8,500 expenditure. That actually should be under marketing,
Okay,
because that's what we designated border affairs to be, is
marketing.
marketing/media.
Yeah.
So that's,
We were just-
Virginia's aware of it, she's gonna move it.
And then I guess when we get the line of credit, we need to put that on here as
It'll be
a separate item.
Yes,
Yeah.
All right, anybody got any more questions on that?
Do we accept the checks and vouchers as presented?
Motion is made by Commissioner Trevino, second by Commissioner Cavazos. All in favor?
Right.
Opposed? Motion carried. And we are adjourned.